can't say nothing. I heard the motherfuckers can't tell me nothing. I bees in the trap, bees in the trap, I bees in the trap. I can't say. All right, what's up, family?
What's up, family?
We're gonna react to rappers who got ran up at the stool.
Oh my!
They get wicked out here.
They get wicked for real. Just mind your business.
A lot of rappers hop in the booth to make it out of the streets, but sometimes that's not even safe.
Don't make it out.
And today, we're breaking down the wild stories behind rappers who got shot at the studio. Rich the Kid was
got
wild.
shot? I thought he said ran up on.
Down by Lil Uzi Vert in one of the weirdest rapper fights of all time. But he's also been involved with some really serious situations. In February 2019, Rich the Kid and his homies were in an alley behind the spot when 3 dudes rolled up on them and demanded their jewelry and cash. The goons jumped Rich and his friends, and one of his homies also got pistol whipped in the face. After the robbery, they hopped in the getaway whip and drove off, and that's when one of the dudes started letting off shots. A witness said they heard like 10 shots, but luckily nobody got hit. What's wild about the situation is that Rich was in the hospital from a different robbery just a few months before. He was chilling at his girl Tory Brix's house when 2 dudes in masks came in and robbed him. Rich tried to fight him off at first, but then 3 more came in with guns and started putting hands on him.
Tory Brix, you're kind of sus. Why did he just run up in your house like that?
Luckily, he didn't let off any shots, but Rich got beat up so badly that he had to be hospitalized. Rich didn't catch any bullets in either situation, but this next rapper wasn't so lucky. YG has been repping the blood since he was a teenager, and Banging the Set allegedly caught up to him back in 2015 when a shooter hit him 3 times at the studio. It's not clear exactly what went down because YG never really aired it out, but he got hit up 3 times in the hip and had to be rushed to the hospital. Rumors say it was street beef, but YG told Billboard,
"Little incident happened. It was real weird and unexpected, but I don't know who shot me. It wasn't gang related, and it don't matter."
Getting shot was bad enough, but then his homies wrecked the car on the way to the hospital. They had to hop in another whip with YG bleeding from 3 bullet wounds, but luckily they made it without crashing again. Most people would take some time off to recover after a situation like that, but YG left the hospital that night and went right back to the studio the next day walking on crutches. He's never said what really went down the night he got shot, but on the track Twist My Fingers, he made it sound like he tried to shoot first. He said, "The only one that got hit and was walking the same day. I tried to pop first, got popped back. Got hit in the hip, couldn't pop back." YG bounced back in just a few hours, but unfortunately, this next rapper went to the studio and didn't make it out alive. Bankroll Fresh was a rapper from Atlanta who was on his way up in the industry. He was getting co-signs from stars like Gucci Mane and 2 Chainz and looked like he was next up in the city. But then he was murdered by his own friend at the studio. A dude named No Plug had been homies with Fresh since they was little kids. Fresh
since they were little kids.
Wow.
The chance to say this out of the story, but No Plug says
it was just a lot of that. I know it was my money situation, female situation. It was just
Fresh since they
He got a little sugar in his tank.
little kids.
Oh my god.
and the 9th Ward situation. Like all them 3 situations.
Why he in jail?
Just made a nigga just go crazy one crazy night.
No Plug was at the studio when Fresh and his crew rolled in. Fresh allegedly started messing with him, and they ended up falling down the staircase together. Someone stepped in to break it up, and No Plug decided to just dip out. But when he got outside, Plug realized he left 2 phones in the studio and went back inside. When he walked through the door, Fresh and his crew already had their guns out.
Damn, that's a big gun.
Fresh allegedly let off the first shot. It sparked a wild shootout that left over 50 shell casings all over the studio floor. And at the end of it all, Bankroll Fresh was dead. No Plug turned himself into the police after it went down, and surveillance footage from the studio backed up his story, so they let him go without any charges. Getting killed by one of your best friends is tragic, but nobody could believe the reason why this next artist was
At the end of it all,
Plug realized he left 2 phones, break it up, and No Plug decided to just dip out. When he got outside, Plug realized he left 2 phones in the studio and went back inside. When he walked through the door, Fresh and his crew already had their guns out, and that's when Fresh allegedly let off the first shot. It sparked a wild shootout, left over 50 shell casings all over the studio floor. Getting killed by one of your best friends is tragic, but nobody could believe the reason why this next artist was killed in the studio. Slim Duncan was another rapper affiliated with Gucci Mane.
That's why you don't jump to conclusions.
Yeah, true.
You jump first.
Well, they said by his best friend. They didn't say he did nothing, so they made us jump to conclusions.
Ain't you?
Dying in the studio. Back in December 2011, he was about to shoot a video at the studio when a fight broke out and he was tragically killed. His death was another blow to the rap game, but the details that came out shocked everyone. A dude named Vincent Hardiman eventually went down for 25 years over Slim's death. And the reason he killed him is wild. According to reports,
this is the piece of candy. They sell several items like this inside
Whoa,
the studio. And
that's
apparently,
so funny.
the rapper grabbed a piece like this from another man inside. They got to arguing over it. Then it started a fight. Then led to a shooting.
rappers get involved in
A
crazy
shooting?
situations all
Over
the
a
time.
piece of grandma
Slim's
candy.
death was even more.
Led to
What the hell?
a piece like this from another
That's
man
the candy that's
inside.
coming out
They
of
got to
my mouth.
arguing over it. Then it started a fight. Then led to a shooting.
Rappers get
That's
involved
sad,
in
but like
crazy
that's funny
situations
because
all the
like
time.
you're
But
that
Slim's
hungry.
death was even more tragic because the beef was started over some candy.
I'm sorry.
He had a lot of
That's
momentum
crazy.
behind his name and was signed
That
to
is good
Gucci
with the
Mane.
candy, though.
But a 29-year-old dude killed him for nothing, and now he's serving decades in prison while Slim's family has to deal with the loss. Slim getting
That's
murdered over a
crazy.
piece of candy is one of the most tragic and pointless deaths in the rap game. But this next artist almost lost her baby when a shooter caught her outside the studio. Young
Yeah,
Miami's been in the
yeah.
spotlight for dating Diddy, who's almost twice her age. But back in 2019, she made headlines for getting involved with some drama that was way more serious than celebrity gossip. Young Miami was leaving the studio at around 1 in the morning in her G-Wagon when someone pulled up behind her with their lights off. She had no idea they were there, and that's when the car started letting off shots. Young Miami told the cop,
I don't know where they came from. That's what they was
I'm trying to think of what this song is.
All right, they bring
Walmart
you
Plus members save on delivery,
BITCH.
gas,
So you
plus
do know
so much
her.
more.
That's Megan Thee
Join
Stallion,
today.
boy.
Oh yeah, it is.
So I'm not sure I could even talk about this.
She's
but
one- isn't she one of the
US
City
Cellular
Girls?
has a new deal.
I don't
where you
know
can
nothing
use
about
Samsung
them.
Galaxy Z Flip.
Cap.
No, it came from behind me. The shots started
Yo,
from
look at I
behind.
listen to that,
She
boy.
said herself
They
good.
didn't
What's
start. They started from
wrong?
behind me because when I got to the shots, I said, "Oh shit, somebody's shooting."
it's not clear whether they wanted to take her out or who was behind the shooting, but luckily she made it out alive and didn't get hit. Miami getting hurt or killed would have been tragic, and it would have been even worse because she was pregnant when the shooting went down. The only thing the shooters hit was the spare tire on her whip, but they ended up getting away with it and no one was ever arrested. Takeoff's death last year was one of the biggest blows to the rap game
that's
ever,
studio?
but the Migos almost lost another member back in
Oh.
2019 when Offset got caught at the studio. In May
Oh, I
2019,
bet your little
Offset was
brother
recording.
look like me. I bet
Shut
your
up.
Good.
Look at you listening to that type
I
of
am.
music.
tracks at the Crossover Entertainment Group recording studio in Atlanta. He stepped outside with some other people to chill out for a minute, and that's when somebody tried to take him out. A car rolled down the street in front of the studio, and the shooter popped out of the window and started letting off shots. Witnesses say Offset was the target, but he was already gone by the time the police rolled up to the scene. Luckily, Offset wasn't hit, but someone else caught a bullet in the leg, and the shooter hit up some vehicles and buildings too. Whoever got hit didn't want to talk to the cops though, and the police could never track him down for questioning. Offset
Damn.
never aired the situation out publicly, so
Oh,
nobody knows
God.
what really went down that night, and it's clear that nobody else involved is going to be talking neither. He got lucky surviving a drive-by like that, but this next rapper's ops dumped over 100 shots at him, and he lived to talk about it. Julio's a rapper from Jacksonville who's most known for his beef with Young and Ace. They dropped some of the wildest tracks the game has ever seen, but what's been going down outside the booth is way crazier. One day, Julio was walking out of the studio and hopped in his whip. He says he always has a gun in his hand because that's just how hot the streets are in Jacksonville. And that day, he definitely needed it. As soon as he sat down in the car, two shooters started letting off shots. Julio started dumping back and emptied his whole clip. And by the time it was all over, there were dozens of shells on the ground, and one of the ops even dropped an AR mag in the middle.
AR mag.
I couldn't be in the gang, man. I can't do it. Bruh, you gotta look over your shoulder
Seriously,
your
that's not
whole
no life,
life,
real.
bro.
Of the street.
Everywhere you
After
go.
it went down, Julio hopped on social media to clown his ops for missing over 100 shots. According
that's
to the
kinda
police
embarrassing.
report, Julio shot back with 2 pistols and ran the ops off. But he says all of his guns are legal, and he's also had gun training classes. The shooters only grazed him in the ankle,
You need
but
gun
Julio
training.
is crazy lucky to still be alive today. A lot of people don't think rappers should walk around strapped up, but if Julio didn't shoot back that day, he probably wouldn't even be around anymore.
Yeah, true.
But Julio isn't the only Jacksonville rapper who got caught outside the studio, and this next artist barely survived his whip getting hit up 22 times. Spot Him Got Him popped off with the track Beatbox in 2020,
I heard about him
became
a
one of the
lot.
hottest rappers out of Jacksonville overnight. But even though he hit the mainstream and had his name buzzing, Spot Him still had issues in the streets. And in 2021, in September 2021, Spot Him was recording new tracks at the House of Hits recording studio in
You can't just be saying that.
He does. No, like if you put them side to side, I'm not even. I'm serious.
Motherfucker, I'm saying they can't be telling people where we live.
Oh, we get that part out. Yeah, we'll go back.
He posted a pic of himself in the studio before he left, which almost turned into a deadly mistake. When you make it out of the trenches, you still have to be careful about how you move. But maybe Spot'em thought he was good since he wasn't in Jacksonville. When he was finishing the booth, Spot'em got in the whip with his homie and hit the I-95 to go home. But right when they left the spot, someone pulled up on him and started letting off shots. Spot'em got hit 5 times in the legs and had to be rushed to the hospital. And early reports made it sound like he got into a shootout on the highway and didn't make it out alive. His lawyer squashed the shootout rumors and said he was the victim of a drive-by and that Spot'em was alive after surgery. It's still not clear who tried to take him out or why, but rumors say that it had something to do with the death of a dude in Texas named Reginald Agnew Jr. Agnew was murdered in a parking lot 1 year before Spot'em got hit, and the police thought he was involved with what happened to Agnew. They eventually cleared Spot'em, but that doesn't mean everyone was convinced he was innocent. Luckily, Spot'em made a full recovery from the shooting, but hopefully he learned not to post his location while he's still there, because you never know who's looking for an opportunity to take you out.
For real. Like, your music, you might have money for music, but you can get shot at any time.
I couldn't be a rapper.
No. I'm saying, like, you might have a lot of money doing it in a game and stuff.
He wasn't in a game.
They weren't?
No. Not that I know of. He wasn't in no
Music,
game.
you talking about stuff like that.
That's a lot of rappers. They talk about.
So they just be lying? Well.
When have you ever heard take up talk about games?
Well.
Hey, you just be talking. Shut up.
Bro. I feel bad for these people that died on here, though. It's crazy. They were just trying to make the music.
Make a studio in your house.
Right, true. But like they say, you can't even trust your own friends.
It wasn't you didn't listen.
Oh, but he got into an argument with his friend.
Okay, friends argue.
I mean, yeah, he shouldn't have pulled out a whole gun, but damn. Damn. Damn.
Bro, are you good?
I'm just so sad. It's just sad life.
Stay safe.
Stay dangerous. Oh.
Stay safe.
Stay safe out here in these streets. Find Jesus.
Pray. Like, subscribe. Just don't die. I'm just playing. Alright. Bye.
TJ